Right, I'm live. Welcome to my weekly show. And tonight I'm going to be talking about why just thinking positively does not work. But before I do, I want to ask you a question. If you've not watched my client interview show from last week, why not? It's amazing. And if anybody questions whether it's possible to transform your life and whether coaching works or not, then I suggest you go and watch that show from last week, because that'll answer your questions, yes or no. So it's available on YouTube, it's available on Facebook, and you can check it out and see for yourself the results of working with a guy like myself, and what that can gain for you in the long run. So check it out, and it's worthwhile. So tonight I'm going to be talking about why just thinking positively doesn't work. Someone said to me recently that working on the mindset, focusing on working on the mindset, is a woke thing. It's a woke load of nonsense, basically, is what they said. Because it's common sense, apparently, to just think positively all the time. And if you do that, good things just will happen. Okay. And yes, it is basic common sense to suggest that. It's also true to think if we were to think positively all of the time, then yes, most of the time we would attract good things into our lives. So ask yourself this question then. If that's the case, and just thinking positively can help us create whatever we want out of our lives, why the hell do we not do it? Why are we not always thinking positively every minute of every day if we know that doing so will create the life that we truly want? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? So, the truth of the matter is, the reason we don't do that is because most of the time we haven't got a bloody clue what we're thinking. We don't have a clue what the hell's going on in our minds. We live very busy lives, and most of the time our minds are on autopilot. We live in our unconscious mind. And that means that what we're thinking, we're not actually aware of most of the time. And that's what creates our reality. So it's not a case of just simply thinking positively and everything wonderful will happen, because most of the time we're not thinking positively because we're too busy in the back of our heads thinking about something else. So ask yourself this question. Every time your mood drops and you feel low about something, what is it you're actually telling yourself about that situation? Do you know that answer? Now, I ask my clients this question a lot of the time, and they will tell me things like, "Oh, I'm lacking in confidence," or "I'm anxious, I'm worried about whatever it may be." So they'll tell me what they're experiencing in terms of their feelings and their emotions, but they won't tell me what it is they're telling themselves about that situation specifically. So they'll identify the fact that they're low in confidence, or so we know that we're not feeling great, but we're not actually sure why. So I'll ask them this: what is it you're telling yourself? This is an important part, you see. So what is it you're actually telling yourself? And when I ask somebody this question, 9 times out of 10, I get the same response, a blank expression. People just look at me like confused. They don't know what the heck I'm talking about. What am I telling myself? What do you mean, what am I telling myself? Well, you see, every emotion we experience in life is created by a thought. It's created by a belief, a perspective of a situation. It's something that we're telling ourselves. And many of these are unconscious. In fact, most of these are unconscious. Our judgments, our biases, our interpretations about ourselves or other people or the world around us, our overthinking, our worries, all our fears, our assumptions, limiting beliefs, they're all unconscious thoughts. We don't choose to think about things that create worry or fear. They happen because they're happening in the back of our subconscious mind, and they're creating a low mood, a low energy emotion. So we're not aware of that. They're all embedded in our conscious mind, all of these things. So 98% of our lives, actually, we live on autopilot, driven by our subconscious mind. Only 2% of our lives, we're truly consciously aware at any given time of what we're actually thinking, what we're actually telling ourselves about any given situation or circumstance. And that means that most of the time we're driven by past beliefs, past judgments, things that don't serve us. Therefore, it's simply impossible to just think positively all the time, like that guy told me the other day. Because even if you think you are, your thoughts will still be fueled by something in your subconscious. So even if you're telling yourself, oh, right, I'm going to think positively now, you're still going to be making a judgment about something. You're still going to be influenced by a belief that you've created at some point. So we're never truly aware of what's going on because of the subconscious. So it's driving everything, really. It's natural for us to be this way. We're human beings. That's what we're, built like. However, we can also learn to be much more self-aware of what we're thinking at any given time, and much more conscious of how our subconscious affects us. And you'd be surprised how few people realize this. It shocks me that most of us don't have a clue that, it's our subconscious mind creating our reality, and if you wondered why your life ain't what you want it to be, well, there you go. That's your answer. So we can choose to challenge our unconscious thinking, when it's not serving us. We can choose to do that. And by doing so, you can then give yourself a much better chance of actually creating a life that you actually want, which is common sense. It's much more common sense than, saying, oh, it's silly to work on the mind because it's just basic common sense to just think positively. No, it's much more common sense to work on the things that are going on in the back of your mind so that they're not influencing and creating a life that you don't want. That's common sense to me. So I'm going to share with you a very straightforward formula any of us can use whenever you're feeling your mood drop, whenever you feel that you're not feeling the way you want to be feeling at any given time about whatever the situation may be. And that's pretty much 90% of our lives, because we're never really walking around joyfully happy all the time. We're always, just trundling along through life, getting by. We're never really as happy as we want to be. And that's a travesty, really. We should be living our lives to our fullest potential. And this is one little tool that you can use to actually help you do that. So if you find yourself overthinking about things, if you're worried about stuff, if you're anxious, if you're stressed a lot, or maybe just in need of a change of a view or perspective of a situation so that it serves you more, this tool will help you do that. And the next time you actually experience a drop in your energy, your mood, try to see that situation as an alarm clock going off, an alarm clock within you. So your mood dropping is an alarm clock, and that's your alarm clock to bring you back to your conscious awareness so that you can then tune in with yourself, so that you can then, change the way you're thinking so that it's going to work for you rather than against you. So these 4 easy steps to follow, I'm going to pop them up on the thing here now so you can actually see them. The first one is asking yourself this: what am I feeling physically? So whenever you ask yourself this, what am I feeling physically? That means checking in with yourself in your physical sense. So asking yourself, have I got a headache? Have I got a tension in the back of my neck? And like I have now. Have I got a bad shoulder? Like I have now. Things like that. Have I got any pains, aches, all that sort of stuff. So checking in consciously with what's actually physically going on within your body. That's the first step, bringing yourself back into awareness, because if we're in our mind, in our subconscious mind, we're not aware of what's actually going on. We're too busy boggled with all the rubbish that's going on in the back of our minds to actually focus on this stuff. So bringing yourself back to awareness is key. So focusing firstly on how you're feeling physically is the first step. Secondly, ask yourself, what emotions am I experiencing right now? So asking yourself this means you're checking in specifically with the emotion that you're experiencing. Now, when I say specifically, I mean identifying it, not just saying, oh, I'm stressed or something like that, saying I'm feeling frustrated or victimized or joyful, happy, angry, whatever it may be. Choosing an actual emotion, identifying an emotion that's going on within you at that given time. And that's how you identify consciously how you're feeling and emotionally. So ask yourself that. So the third step is asking yourself this: what am I telling myself right now? Now, again, it's coming back to what I said a minute ago. We all tell ourselves stuff that creates emotions. Now, identifying the emotion gives you the ability or the opportunity to then identify what you're telling yourself, which is creating that emotion, because that emotion hasn't just appeared. It's come from somewhere. It's come from a belief. It's come from a perspective. It's become from a judgment maybe you've made, or something that's going on in your mind that you're not aware of. This brings you back to the awareness of the thinking that's going on behind the emotions, so that you can actually identify the perspective that you're creating that's creating the emotion. And that's so key, because once you can do that, it gives you the ability to change it and give yourself create a perspective that's actually going to work for you instead of hinder you. So then you can ask yourself this question as well. What am I assuming about the situation? What story am I telling myself about the situation that's going on? Because for instance, if you're watching the news and something pops up and we get stressed or angry or frustrated, we don't necessarily know exactly why. It just triggers something in us. But if you stop and ask yourself exactly, why am I getting stressed? What am I getting frustrated about? Why am I getting angry watching that? What story am I telling? Ask yourself that question. There'll be a judgment. There'll be a belief. There'll be an interpretation. There'll be something going on in your mind which you're telling yourself, which is triggering you. And once that triggers you, it creates the emotion, and that creates counterproductive action. And that creates a low mood. So if you don't want to feel low, if you want to be productive in your life consistently, then it's important to be able to know how your mind works, so that you can actually change these thoughts when they happen, so that you're not always low in energy and feeling like crap. So that's very important. So that's the third step. The fourth step is you get to choose, what emotions do I really want to be experiencing? This is your opportunity to move up a stage, go up a level. So instead of feeling like stressed, angry, frustrated, anything like that, you get to choose what you want to be feeling. So instead of, say, worry, I want to feel calm, right? Instead of anxiety, I want to feel balance. Instead of anger, I want to feel joy. Whatever it is, you get to choose your own emotions. You're not the victim of the society or the news or your friends or whatever it may be, or social media or whatever it is. You get to choose how you react and respond to everything. So if you're reacting in a way that's draining you, that's your opportunity to check in with yourself and change that, so that you're actually responding in a way which is working for you. So that's your fourth step here, choosing what you're going to tell yourself. Now, again, how do you do that? So tell yourself, what do I want to be feeling for a start? What am I telling myself about this situation, and what do I want to be feeling about this? So if I want to be feeling calm, I create a perspective that makes me feel calm. For instance, if I'm telling myself I'm worried about something, I'm worried about, I don't know, losing my job, let's say, then I can counteract that, or tell myself something along the lines of, it doesn't matter what happens, I'll be able to cope with it. I've coped with worse in my life before, and I'll be able to cope again. That automatically brings up a sense of calm in me, because instead of worrying about, oh my God, the world's going to end, I'm starting telling myself, actually, I'll be all right. So it creates a feeling of calm, and that's creating a new belief, a new perspective that's working for me. So we learn how to rationalize, we learn how to reframe our thinking, so that instead of going with the thought that's creating the emotion that's making us feel like crap, we're creating an emotion that's making us feel good. And if you're creating emotions that make you feel good, you're more likely to create productive actions that make you feel more, move you forward in life and start creating the things that you truly want with your life. So that's the trick of this stuff. It's learning how to create what you want with your mind. And most of us don't. Most of us live in the back of our mind, in our subconscious, our conscious, whatever you want to call it, and we don't actually ever move forward and do the things that we truly want to, because we're too ignorant to know anything about it. We're too ignorant to do the work. We just tell ourselves, yeah, just think positively, that'll work. No, it doesn't. Sorry. So practice doing this regularly, and what you find, it becomes much more easy. It's like anything in life, and gradually over time you'll start actually attracting good things into your life on a regular basis, because you'll be resonating at a much more higher level. You won't be in bad moods all the time. You won't be frustrated all the time. You'll be in a good frame of mind most of the time, and the good things that you want out of your life will come to you naturally. So that is very important if you want to be living life at your most productive. So that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. I know there's a lot to take in, especially if we're not necessarily all in tune with this stuff at first, and it takes time to learn. It takes time to, get it into your mind and stuff. So, this is why I'm here for people. So if people want to come and work with me and I can help them create this new way of thinking, contact me for one-to-one coaching. I'm available. So I hope that's helped some people reframe or rationalize some of the perspectives that are going on in their minds so that they're working for them, and rather than the things that are not working for you. And have a great evening. And I'm now going to go and make my dinner and watch the football. Have a wonderful night. See you soon.